Hello there, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on the news desk of NTA Channel 5 Abuja at 1. My name is Tessie Omeri. We begin on security notes. Commissioner of Police FCT Babaji Sunday says ongoing forward operative of the command and other traffic management agencies will intensify efforts of law against pedestrians who are on the true habit of crossing expressways without recourse to use of pedestrian bridges. He made the disclosure after leading an assessment tour of the situation to Lugbe along the airport road. Elias Onotu Yakubu has more.
Images such as these are common sights on the airport and Kubwa AYA Expressway, amongst others, in the FCT. Recalcitrant pedestrians crossing the road meters away from pedestrian bridges, but prefer to risk their lives as against the use of safety apparatus which government have invested in the pedestrian bridges. This has led to wanton loss of lives, and the development is one which the FCT police and other concerned stakeholders say will no longer be tolerated.
We have been receiving complaints about this airport road, which is the gateway to the capital city, that people don't go to work on other of their businesses in good time because of people disobeying the traffic. And that is why we are here. You can see us. And you know, anything in the FCT, we work in synergy. That is why we are here to put our men, to up their games and ensure it doesn't happen again. We are also carrying along stakeholders. We have brought in our DPOs, sector commanders, and area commanders or the VIS to synergize and work together by ensuring that the road is cleared for road users.
A handful of the violators were caught right in the act, and on a subtle phase, the team sensitized and cautioned them against repeat of the offense, as the team will commence arrest of offenders in the coming days. Iliasu Onutu Yakubu, NTA News.
The Deputy Director Operations Directorate of Road Traffic Services, Dele Yaro, says it will no longer be business as usual for operators of motorcycles, popularly known as Okada, in the FCT. The director said this during a news program on NTA Abuja. Safia Inomauchi monitored the program.
Deputy Director Operations Directorate of Road Traffic Services, Dele Yaro, says the menace of Okada operators in the FCT is becoming worrisome. He says apart from them operating illegally, they don't obey traffic rules. Worst of all, drive against traffic.
The authority is looking at the situation where it's not going to be the duty of VIOs alone, that is the DRHS alone. All hands must be on deck now. All agencies are involved, because we realize that some cases the personnel that have been allowed to even use the motorcycle to and fro their homes for convenience sake while on duty, that is the staff now, while fully kitted. But you realize that opportunity given to them to operate now have been abused.
He said the reason why there is an influx of Okada operators in the FCT is because of its ban in neighboring states.
There is no amount of punishment that is beyond just confiscating the motorcycle outrightly. Okay. That is the number one thing we do. And because they are not trained, they watch after just the reward they are going to make per day. Once you beckon on them, they will not even take the care, the safety precautions to make sure that there may be a vehicle trailing behind them, or another person, they will just make a U-turn immediately, briskly, and without concern to other road users.
Dele Yaro says VIOs are arresting on daily basis, and those motorcycles confiscated and forfeited are to be crushed in Abuja. Safia Inomauchi, NTA News.
The indiscriminate parking to pick and drop passengers on strategic roads of Abuja, the nation's capital, has been a source of worry to traffic regulators, who describe the attitude as recalcitrant and unacceptable. Abdullah Ija takes a look at the situation that has continued to elicit public outcry as a result of its attendant consequences on other road users.
The culture of indiscipline being perpetrated on the roads in the nation's capital, Abuja, either at the point of commuting or alighting, is one issue that has continued to give authorities concern.
It is the desire of everyone who uses the road to get to his or her destination safely and timely. However, certain behavioral attitudes of motorists, particularly commercial drivers, violates laid down rules and regulations of road usage. A situation that often calls for concerns, leading to crashes, gridlock and obstruction of free flow of traffic. The Highway Code specifies the do's and don'ts on the road while driving, but often violated by drivers.
We put not parking and they are still parking. They have created a park for us there. When we enter the park, the passengers are not agreed to enter the park. That is why the reason why the drivers have decided to come outside.
I feel bad when I come to this place. Look at how everywhere is jam-packed. You see VIOs, you see road safety, you see police, but sometimes you think it's like they are not here to conduct their work.
By the Abuja Road Master Plan design, strategic roads were constructed with motor parks and designated bus stops or terminals. But the recalcitrance among the motorists often create chaotic road scenarios and gridlock, which have continued unchecked.
We're also enforcing their vehicles are being impounded and brought to the office, and then appropriate penalties are being paid. I'm also considering the possibility of having a mobile court, that issues of this nature will be sent to the mobile court and let them be properly attended to at the mobile court level.
These nuisances are everywhere. We have to agree with that. But that doesn't take away the fact that on our own part too, our men are everywhere, try to battle and ensure that their excesses is limited.
Areas like the popular Nyanya Mararaba, Lokogoma area, Airport Road, among others, are some of the locations for this unwholesome practice, with members of the public calling for a stop to the abnormality through sensitization and reorientation of motorists and road users.
Well, the unpalatable situation around some of these locations where we have found such indiscipline is mostly tied to what they call a shared blame on the part of the motorists and also the commuters, whom often will not always go to designated terminals or bus stops, but will prefer coming to stand by the roadside to board vehicles.
Acceptable practice on the road was suggested for all motorists to always maintain, with appropriate sanctions meted to defaulters. Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
And still talking manners on our roads, residents and road users in Gwarimpa Housing Estate have appealed to the Federal Capital Territory Authority to, as a matter of concern, address the recurrent challenges with potholes which litter the access gate, causing untold hardship to the people. Elias Onotu Yakubu brings us situation report.
Although most of the road users would not speak on camera, but their lamentations are the same. 3 out of the access roads into and out of Gwarimpa Housing Estate are nightmares, especially during rush hours, morning and night. The situation is worse in raining seasons, be it at the Federal Housing Gate or Gwarimpa main entrance.
I know that frequently I'm seeing FEMA on the road trying to repair it, but we repaired 2 months later, the road is bad again.
At the Abuja Model City Gate, traffic here resulting from potholes knows no rush hour.
But for respite, Abdullahi Abubakar here is one on a voluntary service, and he says his motivating factor is part of efforts to support security operatives who are always here day and night in order to ensure that there is free flow of traffic, irrespective of the situation with the road here.
I do it to support them and contribute to Nigeria's growth.
Traffic managers adduce the build-up of traffic at such locations during rush hours to the impatience of some drivers who are in the habit of reckless and uncoordinated maneuver.
A little patience. On the part of all road users that are using those areas, we desire that they exercise some patience as the staff deployed to those locations are managing the traffic.
Once you have a bad situation ahead of you, what you need to do is to slow down and see how you can enter it where the traffic is not heavy.
They urge the authorities to give necessary attention to such failed portions across the city for ease of traffic management. Ilyasu Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
And away from road issues, let's talk updates on COVID-19. Figures from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) as at 25th October 2021 indicate 32 new cases of COVID-19 in the FCT. The number of confirmed cases stands at 23,149, while active cases now 1,963, and the number of discharged cases in the territory puts at 20,968, and 218 deaths have been recorded in the territory. And we now shift attention to education. That will be after the break. You're still on to NTA Channel 5, Abuja. We'll be right back.
Move now! The red light won't kill you! Move now!
To the disobey traffic law, they cause accidents. Me, I don't talk, say, I no go dey do am again, because change begins with me.
Let's cross the other side of the road.
I will no longer endanger my life crossing the express. Instead, I will use the bridge, because change begins with me.
Oga driver, stop this bus now, won't come down. I be one carry me past where they go.
Make I dey stop anyhow for road, they cause traffic wahala and accidents. So I go dey stop for the right bus stop, because change begins with me.
Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Can I see your particulars, sir?
Officer, my particulars no dey here.
In that case, you'll have to come with me to the police station.
Officer, which levels? Where I for find you something make you take arrange your weekend.
What? Offense number 1, driving without particulars. Offense number 2, trying to bribe an officer of the law.
I won't harass Nigerians or take bribe. Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Many thanks for staying with us. Lack of moral upbringing, early exposure to social media, and lack of strict monitoring of children by parents and caregivers are hindrances to raising responsible children. These are concerns raised by a former Tales by Moonlight presenter Nkem Oseloka Orekwe as she presents a paper raising the 21st century Nigerian child at the second graduation of the Redeemer Tip International School, Abuja.
This signature tune used to be indispensable in homes decades ago, where children listened to good stories with morals and lessons. The woman who has done this for 45 years down the line is still not tired of impacting the younger ones. Nkem Oseloka Orakwe of Tales by Moonlight, while delivering a keynote address on raising the 21st century Nigerian child, said all hope is not lost if parents teach children that hard work pays, desist from paying schools for fake results, and above all, instill sanity in their minds.
The word of God I read says, teach the child the way he should go. When he grows, he will not depart from it. Like a child said to the mother, what is sex? The mother said, I will tell you. She kept, 7-year-old child, she kept asking the mother, what is sex? The mother didn't tell her, but what is sex? The driver said, I will tell you. Another day, I will tell you. Another day, I will tell you. That day, he made up his mind. What did he do? He had sex with a 7-year-old girl.
The graduating class of the Redeemer Tip International School learns from her wealth of experience.
I have learned that as a lady, you should not wear clothes that expose yourself, and you should keep yourself until it's the right time.
I always wanted to watch Tales by Moonlight. The stories, especially about the tortoise, I love the tortoise stories. I wasn't too surprised. She is what I expected her to be, truthfully, a mother of all.
Auntie Kem has really hit the point, and he has not spared any stone unturned. She has just mentioned it, and that's what the school stands on, that character must be built in our children.
There's no replacement for being a parent. So what we should be looking at as parents is how do we meet our role. We cannot parcel off our responsibility to teachers.
It was a moment for awards and recognition for the graduates who are hopeful that they will contribute their quota to nation building.
Still talking graduation, excelling in faith as a passionate Christian requires a mastery of biblical teachings, studying the Word of God, praying without ceasing, worshipping in truth and in spirit. This was the central message to graduates of the Church of Transfiguration, Gadua, Abuja, where Rosemary Motelel Bilal reports.
Equipping the Saints School was established and designed purposely to help young people experience life of God, walk out through teaching and studying the Bible, living a lifestyle of prayers, mission work and evangelism. To this end, Church of Transfiguration Gadua Diocese of Abuja Anglican Communion has successfully graduated students at a training and learning school equipping the saints.
The command he has given to us is to go and make disciples of all nations. And when John puts it, he says, you will bear fruit and then the fruit shall remain. And so what we are doing is to train people who will now reproduce themselves in others so that we'll have matured Christians.
By the grace of God, with the help of God, be able to use the things, the instruments already at their grasp, to be able to go out there, implement what they have been taught, and win souls.
Part of the discipleship training is the practical approach to mission.
We've been saved. We've had deeper and higher level of relationship with God, and we now know our life purpose and have discovered our gifts.
The primary aim for all of us to be in this life is to be disciples and disciplers, to actually be the ones to propel the good news and message of Christ to the rest of the whole world, and that will improve the Church of Christ at large in the long run.
Various speakers advise the graduates not to relent in being the true followers of Jesus in preaching the word of hope to mankind. Part of activities was the launching of a book, which the book reviewer described the author as a disciplined person, adding that the book gives reason to Christians to keep faith.
First of all, he started by defining the terms. Pandemic, what is a pandemic, what is an epidemic, what is pestilence, what is a plague. I used, of course, you see that the reference was the Bible. You know, he lifted everything from the Bible and showed where such things had happened before and what the people did.
Meanwhile, a new set have begun training at the school. Rosemary Motelel Bilal, NTA News.
When was the last time you posted or received a letter through a post office? This trend appears to be outdated, particularly to the younger generation, some of whom do not even know the function of the post office. For the older generation who patronize postal services, how much is this facility are they using today? Miriam Emeka Amadi finds out how Nigerian Postal Service is coping in this world of internet technology.
There is no local government area in Nigeria where you will not find a post office. It is usually a center of not just postal services, but other kinds of business activities. I remember those days, people used to say, if you are looking for someone, stand by the post office, you will likely see the person. Today, the business activities at the post office are not what it used to be decades ago, when people used their private mailbox, PMB, or post office box to receive important documents and letters from friends and relatives. Many have resorted to the use of emails and SMS for communication, which they consider cheaper and faster. Now, some people see post office as not having any relevance in their lives as before.
Actually, I didn't know much about it.
For me, I don't do postal service, but most of the organization do it because it's faster for them.
I don't use a post office or any other thing. Only when I'm buying stuff from AliExpress. More reliable in sending couriers, and it's cheaper than those other private courier companies.
Innovation, as often said, is crucial to sustain the success of any organization. The Nigerian Postal Services introduced new services that will make them remain essential in the nation's economy.
The world is embracing technology. Volume of mails, letter mails are dwindling. So what we do, we have to come out of our shells, think out of the box,